Hello, guys. So today we're going to discuss a major development in India's education system, that the decision to scrap the no detention policy. So introduced to ensure students progress through elementary education without fear of failure. So the policy has now faced a lot of criticism for contributing to declining the learning levels. So some argue for its necessity, but others see it as a flawed approach. So let's dive into the origins of this policy and its impact and the recent changes to understand why this decision is so significant at this point of time. So let's talk about what is no-detention policy. See, the no-detention policy was introduced under the Right to Education Act 2009. So it mandated, that no student between class 1 and class 8 could be held back regardless of their academic performance. So the idea was to ensure free and compulsory education for children aged 6 to 14 years, reduce dropout rates, and eliminate the fear of failure among the students. To support this policy, the government implemented continuous and comprehensive evaluation, CCE, which is a system designed to assess students' performance through regular evaluations rather than annual exams. But this well-intentioned policy has had unintended consequences that led to debates about its effectiveness now. So why was this policy actually introduced? If you see, the primary aim was to ensure that no child dropped out of school due to failure. So India's education system faced issues like inadequate infrastructure, untrained teachers, and resource constraints. The policy sought to retain students in schools by promoting them automatically, ensuring that they, at least completed elementary education. But the execution of this policy raised serious concerns. What are the problem with the no detention policy? See, critics argue that the policy led to decline in learning outcomes. Reports such as the Annual Status of Education Report, ASER, that revealed a consistent drop in students' academic performance. So, for instance, if you see between 2010 and 13, the number of class 5 students unable to read class 2 level text is increased by 10%. And many students, advance to higher grades without mastering the basic skills, creating a knowledge gap that become, insurmountable over a period of time. And additionally, the policy discouraged accountability among schools and teachers. With no fear of students failing, schools often neglected the assessments, assuming all students would be promoted regardless of their progress. Now, what is the recent change and what is new now? In 2019, the Right to Education Act was amended, so allowing state and central government to reintroduce exams for class 5 and class 8. So states were given the discretion to scrap the no detention policy. And recently, the Ministry of Education announced that all schools under its purview, including Kendriya Vidyalayas and the Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas, must now require students to pass exams in class 5 and class 8 to be promoted. So if a student fail, they will have 2 months to prepare for re-exam. Failure in the re-exam will result in the student being retained in the same class. So this marks a significant shift from the previous approach of automatic promotion. What are the arguments for and against scrapping the policy? Supporters of scrapping the policy highlight that the mandatory exam motivates students to learn and improve their performance. They argue that without assessment, students lack the drive to acquire knowledge and their learning levels will deteriorate. This change, they believe, will restore accountability and ensure that students grasp foundational concepts before advancing. On the other hand, critics again caution against reverting to a system where failure might demotivate students and increase the dropout rates. Marginalized students, often from disadvantaged backgrounds, may be the hardest hit. Experts suggest that the real issue lies in systemic failures, including poor teaching quality and resource shortage, rather than the policy itself. So what the state's response to the policy change? States have reacted differently to the scrapping of the no detention policy. States like Delhi, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat have already implemented mandatory, exam and removed the policy. So, for example, Delhi recently reported that 20% of class 8 students failed to pass their exams. Conversely, states like Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala continued with no detention policy, citing concerns about dropout rates and advocating for better implementation of the CCE system. What's the future? What lies ahead? The decision to scrap the policy emphasizes the need for holistic reforms in education. So simply introducing exams may not address the root cause of poor learning outcomes. Instead, measures like improving teacher training, enhancing infrastructure, and fostering a culture of accountability in schools are very much essential. Additionally, a balanced approach combining assessments with support systems for struggling students can ensure that no child is left behind. So how can we control this? See, you need to strike a right balance. The no detention policy was introduced with noble intentions, but its implementation fell short of achieving its goals. So the scrapping is like it may improve learning outcomes and accountability, but it also risks increasing dropout rates if systemic issues are not addressed. And moving forward, India's education system must focus on providing quality education, robust teacher training, and inclusive learning environments to truly empower every child. So that's about this session, guys. And what are your thoughts on this session, this decision? So do you believe it will improve the quality of education, or are there any better solution? Share your opinions in the comments below. So that's about this session. If you're looking for any civil service mentorship program or courses, the details are given in the description. Please check out that also. See you guys.